You're listening to the Everything Jewish 10 Minutes at a Time podcast, where you'll learn about every Jewish topic imaginable in about 10 minutes. As always, I apologize for all of my Hebrew pronunciation. Instead of getting mad at how I say things, just laugh at how AI voices like mine mess up Hebrew pronunciation. Today's topic is an overview of the different Hasidic branches. Think of Hasidism like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Lots of characters, spin-offs, and storylines. Each group traces back to the movement started in the 18th century by the Baal Shem Tov in Eastern Europe. But over time, the family trees branched out, each emphasizing different leaders, customs, and vibes. If you've ever walked through Brooklyn and noticed men with different styles of hats, coats, and beards, you've basically seen a living fashion guide to Hasidic distinctions. It's kind of like spotting different sports teams by their jerseys, except instead of cheering for the Yankees or Red Sox, they're following dynasties like Satmar, Chabad, or Belz. Let's break down some of the biggest names in the Hasidic world. One of the largest and most famous Hasidic groups is Chabad-Lubavitch. Based in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, but with emissaries all over the globe, Chabad is like the Starbucks of Hasidism. You'll find them everywhere, from Peru to Thailand to Nebraska. What distinguishes Chabad is its outreach mission. Their rebbe, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who passed away in 1994, encouraged followers to go out and connect with Jews everywhere. That's why you've probably been asked if you'd like to put on tefillin at an airport or spotted a Chabad menorah lighting in a city square. Chabad also emphasizes intellectual study, particularly their mystical and philosophical writings, which makes them unique compared to some other Hasidic branches that lean more toward community insularity. If you've ever wondered why your random cousin in college suddenly got invited to a free Friday night dinner, odds are it was Chabad doing their signature hospitality plus Judaism approach. They're one of the most outward-facing Hasidic dynasties, and that's their claim to fame. Then there's Satmar, which is practically the polar opposite of Chabad in its outlook. Based mostly in Williamsburg and Kiryas Joel, New York, Satmar is one of the largest Hasidic groups in the world. But unlike Chabad's global outreach, Satmar emphasizes separation from secular society. They are famously anti-Zionist, believing that the state of Israel should not exist before the coming of the Messiah. Their communities run their own schools, businesses, and even local governments, creating what you could call a parallel universe of Jewish life. Distinguishing features include their strict dress codes, large families, and Yiddish as the main spoken language. If Chabad is the Apple store on every corner, Satmar is more like a fortress, self-sufficient and protective of its traditions. You'll see them with those tall fur hats called shtreimels on Shabbat, and women wearing modest clothing and wigs. Their tight-knit structure makes them incredibly strong as a community, even if they're not looking to interact much with outsiders. Belz is another Hasidic dynasty with a huge following, originally from Ukraine, but now centered in Jerusalem. Picture Belz like a blend between traditional grandeur and modern organization. Their synagogue in Jerusalem is absolutely massive. It looks more like a palace or a concert hall than what you'd expect a synagogue to be. Belz is known for its meticulous prayer services and musical traditions. Their rebbes put a lot of emphasis on order, structure, and beauty in worship. Unlike Satmar's stricter insularity, Belz has engaged more with Israeli society, even participating in politics through ultra-Orthodox parties. Fashion-wise, they also wear shtreimels, but their prayer styles and melodies are distinguishing marks. Imagine them as the orchestra conductors of Hasidism, everything carefully arranged, harmonious, and impressive. Belz has also built strong educational systems, and their institutions are influential in the broader Haredi world. Ger, or Gerer Hasidim, started in Poland and are now one of the largest Hasidic groups in Israel. If Belz is about grandeur and Satmar about separateness, Ger is about discipline. Their prayer services are famously fast-paced. Blink, and you might miss an entire psalm. The idea is that intense focus and efficiency honor God just as much as long, drawn-out prayers. In some ways, it's like a spiritual CrossFit, short, intense bursts of devotion. Ger also emphasizes modesty, to the point where there are unique rules even about how married couples interact. They've had major political influence in Israel through the Agudat Yisrael party, making them power players not just spiritually, but also politically. If you ever see a group of Hasidim speed davening like Olympic sprinters, odds are you've found Ger. Their disciplined lifestyle attracts followers who value order and community standards above all. Breslov Hasidim are probably the most colorful and diverse branch, thanks to their founder, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. He taught joy, simplicity, and constant conversation with God. If Satmar is a fortress and Chabad is Starbucks, Breslov is more like Burning Man, spiritual seekers dancing, singing, and traveling to Uman, Ukraine, for pilgrimages to Rabbi Nachman's grave. You've maybe seen the Nanach Nachna Nachman Me'uman stickers or graffiti, which comes from one of their mystical teachings. Breslovers emphasize personal prayer, often done outdoors in forests or fields, and an emphasis on happiness as a religious duty. They've attracted not only traditional Hasidim, but also more modern, even secular Jews looking for spirituality with less rigid structure. Their gatherings often look more like festivals than what outsiders think of as typical Hasidic life. Breslov stands out for its openness, joy, and eclectic nature. Vishnitz is another large Hasidic dynasty, originally from Hungary, now mainly in Israel and Monsey, New York. They're known for warmth, hospitality, and emphasis on song. Picture Vishnitz like the soulful jazz club of Hasidism, lots of nigunim, or wordless melodies that bring people together. Their rebbes emphasize the emotional connection to God through music and community. One distinctive aspect is the incredible devotion followers have to their leaders, often traveling long distances just to spend time with them. Vishnitz communities are tight-knit but not as insular as Satmar, and their synagogues are full of energy and song. Their political involvement in Israel also makes them influential, but culturally, they are remembered most for the musical spirit of their prayers. If you've ever heard a hauntingly beautiful Hasidic tune that gave you chills, odds are it came from Vishnitz. They carry the torch of music as a spiritual pathway. Of course, there are many smaller Hasidic branches, like Skver, Boyan, or Karlin Stolin, each with their own customs, melodies, and rebbes. Skver, for instance, has its own village in New York called New Square, run almost entirely by the community. Karlin Stolin are known for their loud, emotional prayer. So loud you'd think they're trying to break the sound barrier. Each group traces its lineage back to a founding rebbe, often keeping the family leadership dynasties intact for centuries. These distinctions matter because Hasidism is not just about belief, but about community, lifestyle, and identity. Choosing a Hasidic branch is a lot like choosing your team. It defines your spiritual path, your neighbors, your school system, and even your wardrobe. That's why the Hasidic world is so diverse, with each dynasty offering something distinct while sharing common roots in mysticism and devotion. So to wrap it up, the Hasidic world is like a giant family tree that sprouted many branches after the Baal Shem Tov planted the seed in the 1700s. Chabad focuses on outreach and philosophy, Satmar on separation and anti-Zionism, Belz on grandeur and music, Ger on discipline and politics, Breslov on joy and spirituality, and Vishnitz on song and warmth. Then you've got dozens of smaller dynasties, each with their own flavor. What ties them all together is their emphasis on community, the leadership of a rebbe, and the mystical traditions of Hasidism. Next time you see men in long black coats and fur hats, remember, they're not all the same team. It's like seeing someone in a sports jersey. The style tells you which dynasty they're rooted in. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and leave us a review. That way, more people can join in as we explore everything Jewish, 10 minutes at a time.